Flex weapons are, as the name suggests, the most flexible weapons in the game, offering the most versatility which allows them to handle a wide variety of scenarios. Today we'll be presenting the top 10 flex weapons in Call of Duty Mobile. Starting the list, we have the QXR. It features an impressive time to kill profile of 180 milliseconds up to 11.5 meters and 240 milliseconds up to 32 meters. Is BSA sufficient to make full use of this range while also having solid mobility and handling? But it does have higher recoil than some of the other weapons on this list and the low leg damage, which can be extremely punishing in the initial range, as landing just a single leg shot will increase your time to kill. Struggle with fast-moving targets? Then fear not, the Holger 26 is for you. This is essentially an assault rifle with LMG perks, featuring high penetration and better sustained BSA. But most importantly, it has full body disable, which when combined with its surprisingly fast strafe speed, means you can easily outstrafe any opponent as they will always be slower than you. It also has very low recoil, which makes it very reliable for those mid to long ranges. This comes at the cost of having a very average time to kill at 255 milliseconds up to 30 meters, which isn't exactly bad, but it is the slowest out of our top 10.
Ah yes, the AK-117.
The first meta assault rifle in CoDM's history until this day still remains a solid contender, being able to achieve a consistent 232 milliseconds of time to kill up to 37 meters, which when combined with its decent BSA and recoil, makes it a reliable pick for most ranges. But in order to achieve this accuracy, you do have to build this weapon to be slower, resulting in not only a slow mobility, but also the slowest ADS time of our top 10. The newest addition to the game, the XM4, is already a strong pick, and we can expect it to get even better as it will likely receive buffs next season. Its time to kill is competitive at 240 milliseconds up to 28.5 meters, recoil is moderate but predictable, and if you don't mind the iron sights, you can even build it to handle as fast as SMGs. But it does have the slowest mobility out of our 10 options, which can make it feel quite sluggish at times. The Type 19 is basically a better version of the XM4. You can think of this as the jack-of-all-trades assault rifle. It offers an identical time to kill profile, with better range, much less recoil, and even slightly better mobility. All this makes for an easy-to-use weapon that doesn't have any real flaws, but doesn't excel in any particular area either, which is the only reason it's not any higher on the list. Even after the series of nerfs, the BP-50 is still a super competitive option. This is essentially a more aggressive version of the Type 19, trading a little bit of time to kill for much better mobility, handling, and fire rate. This combined with the non-existent recoil makes it the perfect option for beginner-level players. The only negative of this weapon is that it doesn't kill as fast as some of the other weapons. Now obviously you can fix this with the 30-round mags, but this does make the weapon much harder to use due to how quickly you burn through your ammo. The DRH is a controversial weapon to say the least, with some questioning its placement in the meta despite the stats proving otherwise. The DRH has a phenomenal time to kill potential of 210 milliseconds up to 36 meters, while having enough BSA and recoil for most engagements. It doesn't have to sacrifice mobility to have great range unlike the AK-47, it doesn't demand user's precision unlike the ASM-10, and it isn't as awkward to use unlike the EM2. It does have a smaller mag size of 25 rounds, but given its slow fire rate and high damage, this is perfectly manageable. The only 3-tap assault rifle that potentially beats the DRH is the HPK-30. This is essentially a faster firing version of the DRH, which means better time to kill, and in the event you fail to get the 3-tap, you aren't punished quite as hard. It also has better mobility than the DRH, which makes it better for rotations. But all this potential does come at a cost of having punishing leg and upper arm multipliers, which does make it less consistent at 3-tapping, so it's in your best interest to aim for center mass. Second place goes to the most lethal assault rifle in the entire game, the Odin. Its time to kill is otherworldly, being able to insta-kill up to 20 meters for a time to kill of 145 milliseconds and never needing more than 3 shots to kill anywhere beyond that. And for such a hard-hitting weapon, it handles a lot faster than you'd expect. Although, this is one of the hardest to use weapons on this list as it has an extremely slow fire rate. In fact, it's twice as slow as some of the weapons on this list. So, you have to be very accurate as a single missed shot can spell the difference between life and death. And the best flex weapon in the entire game should be a surprise to absolutely nobody. You have probably died with about 100 times by now. It's the USS-9. I'm sure most of you are already familiar with this weapon's game, but for those who aren't, this gun is, for the lack of a better word, completely ridiculous. Its time to kill is better than most of the assault rifles on this list, 200 milliseconds up to nearly 30 meters, and 300 milliseconds beyond that. It even has the ability to 2-tap if both shots hit the head, just like the HVK. Despite being an SMG, it has better recoil and BSA than most assault rifles, which again, really dumb. And because it's an SMG, it also has great mobility and handling. This is literally the perfect weapon with top tier stats in every single department. The only downside of this gun is that it has higher hit flinch, but considering everything else that it has, that is hardly a factor now, is it? I would be surprised if this weapon doesn't get a nerf of some kind next season. If you found the video helpful, please leave a like and your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you already haven't. Going dark.